I've been told by quite a few people in the production team that yes, you are going solo and this is the first time you've spoken to anyone since you've gone solo, but your record company says no, police still exist. He's going solo as well as maintaining his record career with Police. Rise to fame, we formed the band The Police. Is this the first time you attempt to write your own songs? Oh no, I've been writing my songs since I was a kid. I don't know why I had this idea. Maybe the Beatles? Yeah, of course, gave me that idea that I could write songs. I'm not sure how good they were, but at the age of 10, 11, I was writing. Was punk more of a buzz for you? I mean, the late 70s, did you really respond to that, or did you see it as an avenue? I responded to the energy and the way that, because everything had become seized up, these sort of monolithic pop groups and everything else was just shut out. I felt a great kinship with the bands that wanted to destroy that stuff. What punks did, what the Sex Pistols did, was to kick down a lot of the doors that the establishment or the industry had put up. It was impossible for a new band to get a recording contract or be heard until that explosion in London in '77, which is where I was at the time. We flew the flag of punk to get in through the door, and then we became ourselves. Added to that, there was a sophistication in the way we played, the way we wrote songs. We were older than a lot of punk bands, we had more musical experience, and so it was a good crossover for us. We had this energy, this great violent energy, plus this sophistication. I think that's what did it. What was it, you think, that made the Police click? I think we were a three-piece group, and that has an inbuilt limitation. You're just three people. You can't really compete with a larger band that has keyboards and horn sections and lots of singers. And we started to leave lots of space in the music, lots of holes, because we couldn't fill it. But we made a point of that. And I think that spare kind of skeletal approach made any record we made stick out. The rest of the Police guys, they wait for you to write these songs, do they? Do they start to get resentful that you're the writer, that you're the frontman? Yeah, I was like the cuckoo in the nest. You know, they didn't really know what they were taking away. Because you become more and more important because you're the songwriter. I'm the singer, I'm the songwriter, and I'd had many years of experience as a songwriter. So I had a whole catalog of songs that I'd never used in the public domain, if you like. Definitely a collaboration, but a very hard-fought collaboration. And I think part of the energy of the band was this constant tension between the three egos, which worked, for that amount of time, and the music reflects that tension. Did you ever imagine it would go where it went? I mean, to the level that it went to. Yeah, we did. I don't know what gave us this confidence, this total arrogance that we would actually make it when no one knew us and no one wanted to know us. But we had this idea that we were going to make it, and I think that burning desire and that burning ambition just carried us forward, this momentum. We had no idea that we would fail. I enjoy the fun of being on the charts, the fun of trying to beat the other groups, and that sounds, the commercialism of it, I like. But I also enjoy trying to figure out, when writing songs, what will sell. It's interesting, too, what sort of song will sell to millions of people. It wasn't commercially created by some entrepreneur in the sky. It was our idea, and we wanted to play music. However, we are a very commercial group. It just happens to be the music we like playing is very commercial at the moment, and that's an accident of history and fashion. It is an accident. I swear this, that it is also pleasing to a vast number of people. It's a continuing source of amusement and pleasure that this happens. But I write songs to please myself. A band plays to please itself. If there were no one out there, we would still be playing, we'd still be playing in some room. The fact that 15, 16, 100,000 people, we still have goals that are beyond our reach. We still have those. You know, without those, there would be no group. A group stops when we've achieved all of our goals, but there's always something else to go through. Sting, I found a terrific strain to be wanting to write in a certain way, with a certain freedom, and yet having to deal with this group consciousness. You want to get out of the music business, you want to be an actor. Is that right? No, that's not true. I don't want to get out of the music business. I want to expand the music business into a larger media. I've been told by quite a few people in the production team that yes, you are going solo and this is the first time you've spoken to anyone since you've gone solo, but your record company says no, Police still exist. He's going solo as well as maintaining his record career with Police. Do you expect to be retiring shortly? Yes, about 6 months. Why is that? I've said it all now. Interesting, in the interview that you did in New York the day after the Madison Square Garden concert, they more or less said that you were going to sort of not quit the group but spend a fair time away from the group. Well, this article said this and said quitting the group. I'm quitting the group. All right. And you are going to go into a film career. 3 of us are quitting the group. Well, wait a minute. One of us. I'm quitting first. I'm quitting first if I want to quit right now. I'm kidding. I'd like to go on as long as possible, but I mean there's a finite limit to how long a band lasts. I'm very aware of how transient the whole thing is, and in 6 months' time indeed we could be... Well, I think it's a very old-fashioned idea that one band should stay together forever. It's equally old-fashioned to assume that as soon as bands don't record that they've broken up. We're having what's called a hiatus where we're deciding what to do next. We were together 7 years. Then I got the 7-year itch and decided to follow my instincts, to splash out on my own. But against all logic, everyone was saying, "You're crazy. You're the biggest band in the world, you're making all this money, everybody killed to get to the point where you were, everybody loves you. Now you want to leave." Yes, I want to leave. I want to begin again and sort of carve out another niche for myself. The Synchronicity album was the last album the Police recorded together, is that correct? That's true. And you did your last tour together. Did the record company think that you guys, and did your management and everything, think you guys were out of your minds to break up at that point? Because this album Synchronicity, you sold a lot of albums, you were on top of the world. That decision to do a tour and then break up, was that your decision alone? I knew that at the time of Synchronicity we had reached a point of, it was almost as good as we could get. You know, we just filled Shea Stadium, and after Shea Stadium we all sat down and said, well, this is it. You don't get any bigger than this. We could do this again, but it'll never have this feeling. And we'd come as far as we possibly can. Do we want to just carry on in this, or should we stop? And we said, okay, we'll stop. A very odd logic to it, but we stopped at the top. And I suppose there's a myth about us that remains because we did that. And the momentum of the Police allowed me to carry on being who I am. But I think it was the right decision to make. We didn't officially break up, Howard. Right. Is there any chance that the Police will reform? I don't think so. I'm still very good friends with Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland, but we started as a group in 1977 and we achieved everything we wanted to, 10 times what we set out to do. So we've sort of done it, really. My motto is you can't step in the same river twice. I don't think there's going to be a Police reunion, I have to be honest with you. I think my motto is you can't step in the same river 2 times. We achieved everything we set out to do and more. So I don't think there's any need to be, rejoining except for nostalgia's sake. We're not really thinking about it. We're all very involved in our separate things at the moment, and we haven't really had time to think about it. But there's no reason why there won't be another Police album. As long as we think of a new way of presenting the band and making music, it has to be new and fresh, not just to obey the old successful formula, or that would be boring. 2 days after the legal ceremony, their marriage was blessed in the church, and the wedding reception that followed became the scene of a spontaneous Police reunion. Miles came over and said, "Come on, Andy, Stuart, here, let's get up." "Oh, come on, it's my wedding, I don't want to do that." All of our old friends, were all there saying, "Come on, guys, come on, guys." I had a few drinks by that time and I was kind of happy, so I said, "Okay, let's go out and do Message in a Bottle," and we all sort of went up arm in arm, and everybody gathered around. It's the Police, they've reformed. So I got like some little amp, and like a guitar that was with a strap that put it down by my ankles, It's not even worth talking about. For the first time in over 6 years, Sting, Stuart Copeland, and Andy Summers shared a stage and made music together. It was just like old times. And within 4 bars I was scowling at Stuart, 'cause, he was speeding up a little bit and the guitar was out of tune. I was scowling at him and he'd forgotten the riff a little bit, and we were back, right back to all those places, all those little pressure points were right there. But at least in our state that we were in at that time, we were able to laugh over it. It was like putting on an old suit, But everybody loved it, and I'm glad we did it. But we haven't played together since. For some reason. Why not? I think it's a question we've really been dealing with. Thoughts on bandmates today. For many years now, The Police has always been my favorite music experience. It's a no-brainer for me. The part that I have no comprehension of is what made Sting decide that this is the hour, this is the day, this is the moment. I'm always of the belief that surprise is everything in this business. What would really surprise people, would even surprise me, is if I reformed The Police. And so it was. Even right now, I still feel slightly unreal. I didn't believe it until Sting emails the setlist, and I'm looking at all these songs. That is the moment when I started running around my studio hollering. What is important is that we always were a bit of unfinished business. That's going to be on the cover of Modern Drummer magazine. Can I tell you something, Andrew? I love you. I love you too, Stain. But, if you're singing unison with somebody, the best way of getting to unison is to watch their mouth. All right. Yeah, I'm not looking at you though. I know you're not. But when we're on stage, you'll see that. But as we're together like this, it's a good opportunity to actually start singing together. I was actually singing in tune. You were singing in tune, but you weren't singing with me. We're making that effort to communicate in a way that will hold us together, so we can get through these very rough times of refashioning our musical body. See if we can get through this. It's much better than paying a shrink, $400 an hour in New York. Do you feel like your friendship or your relationship with Sting specifically, how has that changed in recent years? Obviously, like you're getting a lot of questions. Are you guys going to reunite again? Are you going to make more music? Etc., etc. You're a never-say-never kind of guy. But specifically with Sting, because in the film you do talk about it, like, well, Sting's not a team player. Your memoir is very explicit. Yeah, well, that was all the truth of what was going on. And, the rest is history. We stopped at the absolute peak, and that was really because of his, lust for a solo career, which he did, to the shock of the world, and, to his own success with it and all the rest of it. It's all out there. But I think the real truth is that we were all in this amazing band and that none of us, no matter what we do, are ever going to really transcend that fact. It's just like the Beatles. You're never going to get past that. And when you talk to the media, that's usually the first thing they go to. It's very difficult to get past. So I think the only thing you can do is embrace it. The truth behind all the obvious stuff that they let is actually, we're very caring about one another. And we care about what we did. It's not all like, well, it was a load of crap, forget it. It wasn't. Are you and Sting and Andy on a text chain? Absolutely. You are. We send each other dumb Instagram clips. Right. Do you ever? The part that's true is that we get along really great, as long as we're not in the band. Right. Well, do you ever talk about saying, you know what, let's go do the Sphere for a week, or let's do 10 dates? Others do. But you don't ever? No, really. The Police is like a pro suit made out of barbed wire. It's really cool. We're all very proud of it. But man, we just don't fit together so well. Even with that understanding, you don't think you could say, you know what, you guys, look, here are the 4 things we fight about the most. I drum too loud, whatever. We did the reunion tour and it was mind-boggling, the response from the audience. It was. The rehearsals were very tough. Right. How long ago was that? Oh gosh, 15 years ago, something like that. And we got, during the tour we're thinking, how come everybody's having the best tour possible, but 2 of us are just angry all the time? Really? And so we got banned, you and Sting? Yeah. And we got band therapy. And got it all said. Really? When I said this, you thought I meant that. Okay, good. So it worked. Band therapy. Yeah. And so we got along. How many sessions did you do? A couple. Okay. But then that didn't solve the problem of World War II going over his left shoulder. And there are still, Sting is quiet and deep. I'm noisy and shallow. Okay. We are not birds of a feather. We love each other for what we brought into each other's lives. He actually is a really good hang. But we make music for different reasons. Was there ever any sexual tension between you and Sting? Of course. All the time. Yes. That's what drove that's what it was. Will they or won't they? You heard it here first.
Yes. I thought so.